Hello everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel, and this is my weekly episode where I talk about all things stitching and quilting. If that is something that you enjoy, stay tuned. It is Sunday, July 21st, 2024. Welcome, as I said. Welcome to all my new subscribers. I've had a lot lately, and it looks like a lot of stitchers and quilters, so welcome. I'm so glad you're here. As I mentioned, this is where I talk about all things stitching and quilting and whatever I am doing with needle and thread. Today I have a full finish plus a little mini tutorial to share with you guys for the Sorry Can't. This was the 141 design and hands-on design collaboration piece. Super cute. So I'm going to be sharing that. And I'm going to share how I finished mine, so in case anybody else wants to do that. Plus, I will be talking about any changes I made to the chart. I did change out all of my floss. I have lots of WIPs. I have new starts. I had a weird week. I was in a weird headspace, maybe is what I want to say. I find when I am very stressed, I tend to do that. Like just bing. I jump around a lot, or I start a bunch of things. I don't know. But I did join in on a SAL. The Hygge Holiday SAL also started this past Friday the 19th. So that was super fun. If you haven't watched it, please watch that video. I'll have it linked down below as well if you want to see what we talked about and kind of talk about all things to do with the Hygge Holiday SAL. I will be live again this coming Friday, which is the 26th, I believe. So definitely come stitch with me Friday evening at 7 p.m. Central. Link to that also will be down in the description or here on the screen. Whatever works. Sometimes the screen doesn't work. It does make me a little mad when that happens because I go through the effort of putting in everything, saving it all, and then the little thing doesn't pop up. Also today, I have an incredible giveaway from Fat Quarter Shop, so I'm very excited about that. We're going to talk about their new Halloween Memories book from Susan Aki. If you remember her Summer Memories book, absolutely incredible. Halloween Memories is now available, and they are doing a quilt along. I am going to participate, so we'll talk a little bit about that. And I will have a book for you. So if you are interested in winning this Halloween Memories book from Susan Aki, leave a comment by July 31st, 8 a.m. Central Time. And I am going to put right here on the screen that information and leave the word Halloween in your comment for a chance to win this book. This is an amazing book, and it's not just quilts. I'm going to show you here on the back. I'm going to put it up really close. There's cross stitch in here as well. One of these I really love. This is the one it is. Hold on, I'm going to cover up the cross stitch part or the chart. I really like this one. I like that it's monochromatic. I love this one. It's called the Quaker Halloween. Anyhow, so cross stitch and quilters, and that is my giveaway for this week. Fat Quarter Shop will send you the book after I draw the winner. So I will send you an email and get your address and all of that good stuff and pass it along to Fat Quarter Shop. And I just want to say a huge thank you to Fat Quarter Shop for sponsoring today's giveaway. With that being said, let's jump into today's episode. I have a lot of fun things to share with you, and let's jump in to my fully finished project. So my FFO this week is the hands-on design, Sorry Can't Stitch. This is not what your chart will look like. I got the chart early as a gift from Chantel at a friend retreat. So that's kind of why the real chart, that you got the printed chart in your kit. And if you order it in the future, that's what you'll get. But it came with the hoop frame, which you can see here. This is the frame from Chantel 141. The chart designed by Kathy of Hands On Design. Also included was the small hoop, which I painted when I painted this one. And then if you pre-ordered the kit, it was a mystery kit from 141. You did get the bonus. The bonus will not be available later. And I haven't stitched mine yet, but I'm going to stitch it in these same colors, which we're going to talk about. But I did want to just show that really quick, since I did stain mine up. I stitched it on the fabric, the 32 count antique white linen included in the kit. To perfectly fit this hoop finish, it does need to be stitched on 32 or 16 count Aida. So 32 linen or 16 count Aida, and that's going to fit perfectly in this hoop. There's a finishing circle that came in with the finishing piece that I mounted this on. 4 pieces of batting, leftover quilt batting is what I used underneath, and I did lace it to that. I stained it up. I did use some of my card making tools to do that, and then I finished with some bows and things. So real quick, I'm going to show. It is charted in DMC. I did convert to overdyes. I have listed these on all of my social media, etc., but I'm going to show them again here really quick. I did have them all twisted up for the sake of photography. So we have the green is Tree Frog, and that was these little X's here. Coral Trout is what I used for Sorry and in the hoop. Jade is what I used for the contrast on the banner and the little line that the word stitching sits on, as well as the running stitch in the little stitch pattern down here. Teal Thistle is what I used for the banner as well and the hoop. Spectre is what I used for the shadow around the word stitching as well as the hardware on the hoop. Black Ice is what I used for the word stitching. Lilac is what I used for the word buy. It's charted in plaid with a back stitch around it. I opted to stitch mine all a solid over dyed. That's where I got that beautiful variegation with no back stitching. And then Bumblebee was what I used for all of the little X's. So that is my stitch, and these are my colors. I absolutely love it. Now I am going to insert the finishing for this. It will be sped up to save some time. I'll show you the Tattered Angel stains, the Tim Holtz distress products I used, and kind of all of the things finishing. The only thing I didn't share was the spray I used to seal it, so I'm going to show you that right here before I play the finishing. This is what I used to seal this. I did do 2 layers, and then I very lightly sanded it just to make sure it was nice and smooth with a very, very fine grit sandpaper. And then I did 1 more layer of finish over this just to seal it really, really well. And no, I didn't even do the back. I don't know why. I just didn't. It's fine. It's going to sit on a shelf. If I ever put it in something where it was going to be, you could see the back, I probably should finish it, but I didn't. So just full disclosure, here's how Nichole's looks. Okay, I'm going to roll the finishing tutorial. Okay, so here is what I'm going to do. I'm taking some of these Tattered Angels stains, and I picked mine up at Hobby Lobby. If I can find other links to them, I will link them down in the description below. And I actually just am using a paintbrush. A foam brush would be better, but I think I was completely out. So I just used what I had handy, and I did use this paint palette so I could pour a little bit out and just pick it up from that. And I'm applying my first layer. Now this really goes on super red when you're just painting it on, and it is a stain, not a paint. So it's going to absorb. You don't want to oversaturate your pieces too much. But what I want to note about the color is that the red is fantastic for Christmas, Valentine's, awesome. For this stitch, I didn't use red floss. So I definitely want to keep that in mind and maybe tone that down a bit. Now the hardware piece for my frame, this is the second layering piece, I am painting with black velvet. And black velvet is going to be a little too dark, but we're going to keep it here because I'll show you how we're going to distress it for that hardware look in a minute. So back to my red frame now, I am going in with some whitewash. And whitewash on its own doesn't do a lot, but when painted over another color, I find that it slightly dulls it, or in this case, almost gives it that pink look. You can see the comparison between the large and small hoops, and that is what I'm going for. That's going to match that pink tone that I am using, or I guess the color I used, the color in cotton floss was called Coral Trout. It just really, to me, blends better for my particular stitch. Now I also took a little bit of the whitewash and I used it over the black. Again, it just kind of gives it a little bit duller gray finish. It's still pretty black, but it does dull it up a little bit. Okay, next I'm going to go clean everything in some water, and then I am using this product from Tim Holtz. It's called Foundry Wax, and this is the color Sterling. It is a product that gives like a gilded type of effect. It is obviously, most of these products are made for paper as far as the Tim Holtz product, but you can use them. So I am actually painting it on. I use it differently on paper, but for this I did use a paintbrush, a dry paintbrush. I want to note that. And it is a product that will require heat setting. So you are going to need a heat tool. I'm using an embossing gun and I am heating it. The reason being, if you just leave it to dry, and again it does dry fast, it's just going to rub off. So you do want to heat set it, but it's going to give, the sterling color is a silver color, and I wanted this to look like silver hardware. And after I initially added it, I decided to go in and add a little bit more. So just a peek of that black velvet is showing through. You could also use a silver paint if you wanted to here. This just really worked easily. And if you are a paper crafter like I am, and you maybe already have some of this stuff, this is something to keep in mind, that another way to utilize products you maybe already have on hand. That was really the goal with this. So you could even use ink pads to paint up your frames if you wanted. Now I did take walnut stain distress ink in the mini ink cube size, and I'm very lightly rubbing that over my frame to add a little grungy distressing. Another way to just grunge it up a little bit more. And that is absolute perfection right there. I love how this turned out. It looks fantastic. Okay, that's what I'm going to do for both of the frames then. The painting portion is done and we are ready for assembly. Am I using a paintbrush to apply the Titebond glue? I am. My Titebond glue, the bottle is so hard for me to squeeze that I just took the lid off and I'm painting on my Titebond with a paintbrush. So if yours is too, but you don't want to go buy a new glue bottle because the glue is still good, this might be an option. So I am placing the hoop with the hardware on the background base. Lining them up. I really want to make sure, I'm trying not to get too much glue. I did get too much in certain areas, but we'll wipe that off. I did work with rubber gloves today, mostly because I just didn't want to have to be washing my hands so many times. They get so dry. My hands have been so dry lately. Then I am painting or applying the glue to the back of the painted hoop, and that goes on last. So each hoop The large and the small have 3 components to them, and you'll notice me wiping away the glue, and we're going to let that sit and dry. It does not take that long. You may want to make sure and press on it, place something heavy on top to make sure that it stays put, but they will slide around a little bit before the glue sets. So make sure that they're lined up perfectly flush before you set it there to dry. Now, if any glue squeezes out and you don't get it wiped off when it's still wet, never fear. That's a great time to take your little mini sander and sand away any of that excess. Now, this isn't meant to be a full length tutorial or anything. It's mostly just, I wanted to share a little bit of how I decorated my hoop in case anybody else is looking for ideas for this or for anything really. Any type of finishing piece might give you some ideas on how you can finish yours. And I will tell you, this was fast. I think I had both of mine completely done in 40 minutes or less. Obviously, dry time for the sealant did take most of the rest of the day. Like, I applied several layers of sealant, which I told you a little bit earlier in the video. And I let that sit and dry, and then I actually didn't put all of the pieces together until the next day. I wanted to let you guys know that right off of the bat. And I did not ruin this paintbrush with the Titebond. I made sure and went and washed the glue out immediately with warm soapy water, and my paintbrush was good as new. So we're just adhering all of the pieces for the small hoop. And I know I might get asked this. Yes, both of these hoops, the large and the small, will be coming to 141 Design, I believe, in September 2024. So definitely follow Chantel at Chantel's 141 here on YouTube, Instagram, all of the places for more information on that. And you can really, anything that will fit in a round circle, you can use in these pieces. I'm excited to use that mini hoop as like a ornament. I think it would be a fantastic ornament. Just put a little twine through the little top piece there and hang it up. So you'll notice I'm kind of fiddling with it, cleaning it. I really wanted the edges to be nice and clean, and I really made a disaster mess. I'm starting to pull my gloves off now because they're on my nerves, but it did keep my hands nice and clean. Okay, now that this is done, now that I have had a day, I've allowed my frames to be sprayed. I am taking the finishing circle that comes with your hoop, the large hoop, and I am cutting 4 layers of leftover batting, and I just used it as a template, placing those on top of the little finishing round, then placing my stitch on top. I did cut around the edge in a somewhat circular shape. I have threaded up a needle with some upholstery floss, and I am just doing a running stitch all the way around, gathering up my stitching. This is lacing the piece. I do have a lacing tutorial. There's lots of lacing tutorials as well out there. So I just did this quickly. Once I have laced it, I do knot the thread, even though I'm not cutting it, before I start lacing back and forth. And you'll notice me smoothing the areas around the round finish. I don't want any sharp little points of the linen or anything like that. And then I just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I will link to another finishing tutorial here or down in the description. So if you're interested, you can definitely check that out for more lacing. And maybe I can even do another tutorial here soon, a little bit more in real time. But this is just the super quick way of getting it laced up and nice and secure. Now, the awesome thing, it fits perfectly inside. I did hot glue it in place once I had it how I wanted. Now we're taking the 2.5 bow making tool from Chantel and doing a triple bow. I don't do many triple bows. It's usually a single or a double, but I felt like a triple bow would be perfect here. And you simply wrap it around and tie it into a little knot. I've also done videos on this before, and I will have more for holiday ornaments and such, is where I use bows for the majority of the time. But I felt like the hoop just needed a bow. And this beautiful teal ribbon is from the Stamp Market. I will link to it down below if you're interested. They have a couple of different widths in a whole beautiful color assortment. And I liked it because I felt like it pulled the teal color out of the stitch, since I opted to do red for my frame. Then I'm taking an assortment of other ribbons and twines from my stash. I have the yellow mustard color is from the Stamp Market. The red with the white along the edge is Stampin' Up. And the green twine that was an afterthought, but I do tie that in here, is Lawn Fawn twine that comes in a beautiful rainbow assortment of twine. So if you're looking for that, that is amazing. Now, I left the ends of all my ribbon really long. I'm glad I did, even though you will notice they get cut shorter and shorter. I actually pulled everything off, and I'm going to retie this onto my hoop. But the reason I left everything long is reevaluating and guessing, how long do I actually want these ends to be? Now, at first I thought I wanted to have them dangling. Well, once we were there, I was like, ugh, no, no. So they did get a haircut quite a bit trying to get them the way I wanted. I like how there's just some loose, and it adds a little pop of color. And then, of course, the bow. I did hot glue the bow in place with the Surebonder hot glue gun. And you'll even see I'm going to adjust a little bit more here. I notched my teal blue or my aqua blue bow, the bow ends, and I'm just kind of folding them in half and then just snipping and trimming those up. And that was perfect. I actually pulled a lot of other things out, but this was the perfect finish. I like that little soft touch of the bow and with the ribbons, and I hope you enjoyed this little mini finishing tutorial for the awesome Sorry Can't exclusive by Kathy of Hands On Design for Chantel's 141. And I can't wait to see all of you guys stitching this up if you picked up the kit. Okay, let's talk some WIPs. So my first WIP this week, I started off strong, but I haven't worked on this the last few days. This is the With Thy Needle and Thread Dutch Tomato Pin Keep. I am stitching it on the called for 36 count vintage country mocha, 1/2 with the called for 22 DMC. I did make quite a lot of progress, so I'm really happy. I am at the halfway point. In fact, everything here is on page 2. So I'm halfway finished with this, and here is kind of how I was approaching working on this. Trying to do one strand a day, but full disclosure, the last 3 days I've not done one. I haven't stitched on it at all. But I was doing just one strand a day and was able to, make some nice progress on this. I am loving it. I do have all of the finishing pieces to finish this when I am done with it, but just kind of trying to put some stitches in on my tomato pieces as I can. And one strand of floss a day is very doable. So absolutely loving this. And again, it is the Pennsylvania Dutch Tomato Pin Keep by Brenda Gervais of With Thy Needle and Thread. Okay, the next stitch is the Mend Block Party SAL. I am also still working on this. These are my 2 tomato projects I'm currently doing. No new ones are getting started until these 2 are finished, or at least one of them is finished. That's kind of my rule. I try not to have too many started, even though I told you at the beginning I'm in that weird mood. So I think last week I was here. I think that's where I was. I managed to do the button card. I haven't stitched the outline on the button card yet. I don't know if I'm going to, you guys. I don't know if will love it. I may leave it. So that was kind of my thinking. Yes, I backstitch as I go. I know a lot of people wait and do all of their backstitching at the end. I do stitch in hand, not in a hoop or a Q-snap or anything like that. So I usually opt to backstitch as I go for a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't forget. And number two, if I save backstitching until the end of a project, there is like a almost 0% chance that I am ever going to be super motivated to do it. I know me. The backstitching, if I do it as I go, I don't even think about it. I'm just like, whoa, I'm going to finish this motif. Now I'm going to finish this motif. And it works really well for me. The other thing I'm doing with this stitch is because the tape measure is so long, I am opting to stitch it as I go. So here's kind of how I do the measuring tape here. Is I will stitch a portion of it, and then I will fill in everything that sits on top of it. And that way I am not having to count super far out here and maybe make a mistake. So it's kind of serves a couple of purposes there as well. I'm not just, endlessly stitching the measuring tape. And that works really well for me too. I'm loving it still on the blush. And you guys, thank you for all the sweet comments on stitching this on blush. I think it's just the perfect fabric. These colors look amazing on it. I'm pretty close to being done with that tomato. And then trying to think what comes next. The sewing machine. I'm really excited to stitch the sewing machine. I will tell you, this was a restart for me. So if you're new, you probably haven't seen it unless you've watched some older videos. But this is further than where I got originally. I think originally I did get to about here. So I've passed that, and I'm clicking right along because I love this fabric. This is 35 count blush by Weeks, stitching 1 strand over 2. That does mean that my block party pincushion will be smaller than the called for because I want to say this is 28. I didn't bring the full chart in, just the cover sheet. So I'm pretty sure Kathy stitches all of hers on 28. This is 35 count blush by Weeks. So it will be a little smaller, but that's okay with me. And here's where I'm at. Absolutely loving, loving, loving it. Okay, those are kind of, is that my WIPs for the week? Let's talk new starts. I have 3 new starts this week. So I saw on Instagram, that my friend Jen is hosting a berry SAL. I will put the hashtag here on the screen because I can't remember it right now. I guess July is National Berry Month. I mean, I didn't know that. I'm going off of what she posted, so that's awesome. I actually kitted up several months ago the 3 berries that are out from Hands On Design. There's strawberry, blueberry, and blackberry. I literally just pulled one out of that bag where I kitted them up and started stitching. So I am stitching this on 32 count raw linen by Zweigart. Raw linen is my favorite. This is the called for fabric, I believe, for this. It is stitched with DMC. So here's all of my DMC right here. And I think I just have this little section left. It is stitching up like a dream. Absolutely love this. This was only like 2 evenings of stitching. And I did have to frog something. Oh, I had to frog Smyrna's. I don't know what I was thinking. There's 2 different Smyrna's. So there's the Smyrna's that are on the large berries in the light blue. And then there's the individual Smyrna crosses. And those are supposed to be in that like light ivory-ish color. Yeah, I was just light blue in all of them. I had to rip like all of these out. It was kind of... I was mad at myself. I wasn't paying attention to the chart whatsoever. But it's fine. I fixed it already. I've already started down here, and I am loving it. Kind of fits in my whole dimensional. So far, everything I've shared with you today will be like a very 3D-ish type of finished. A block party, a tomato pin keep, a berry. Just loving it so much. So super fun. And again, I'll put the hashtag here down below and follow along with that to see what everybody's stitching. The other, or one of my other new starts is this chart from Hello from Liz Matthews. This is from her Patreon. So right now you have to be in our Patreon in order to get this. It's the chart that you get free. I can't remember her levels. I'll put a link to her Patreon down below in case you're interested in joining. It's called Busy Hands, Happy Heart. It is 2 charts. So it's the framed piece here, and then it's this beautiful pillow down here. I love both of them. In fact, when she posted this on the 15th, that's when it's only available for a month. So that's when the chart comes out. It will be a regular release in 2025, according to all of her video and information in Patreon. But if you want it now, join Patreon, join her Patreon. But I was so inspired that I immediately ran over to 123 Stitch. I ordered fabric. I did order it in blue. It is 10-20 count. Oh, shoot. One moment. It's 20 count Weeks Dye Works linen, but you stitch over 2, so it's ginormous. Her finishing here says that for 10 or 20 count, it will be 18 7/8 by 7 3/4. Now, I went ahead, you can see I've stitched a bunch. I purchased blue jeans from Weeks Dye Works, the 20 count linen, because I knew that my bedroom is blue. And this is going to be so big that we're probably not even going to see it all. It stitches fast. You are stitching over 2 on 20 count. So really, you might want a different needle. I think I'm using a 24 needle. She had a whole video on it in her Patreon. I watched it and I don't know if they're still available, but she did have kits available. I didn't wait for the kits. I went straight over to 123 Stitch and ordered the linen, and I did opt. It's charted in Ecru by DMC, but I actually picked Pearl Dinky Dyes silk, and it's 3 strands over 2 on 20 count. So that's, not what I'm used to, but it's stitching up fast. So fast. I did start with my border. I wanted to make sure my border met, and I got my border, and then I started here in the center. I came down and I actually stitched this petal. I stitched this petal, I stitched down, and I stitched this motif to make sure that I was where I needed to be here, and then I've worked out. So this is going to be a pillow on my bed in my bedroom. It matches all my bedding. It matches the quilts that I'm making that go in my bedroom. I have a couple that are one almost finished, one not started. That's what it is. But just quilts that I love. I think it matches everything so beautifully and highly. I don't know what it was. I was so inspired that I immediately went and bought everything for this. Now, I do want to caution you about something, because this could have been bad. Look at how much I have here. This linen was not cut evenly. I only have like an inch maybe here. Now it's going to be a pillow, so it ended up being okay. I probably should have started a little more centered to my linen piece, but I did want to caution you about that. Weeks does tend to be a very loose weave. I've done some other projects on other counts of weeks. I've never worked on 20 count, but it's very loose, but I love it. I love it, love it, love it. I'm loving stitching this, and it is gorgeous. Liz, thank you. I love it so much. Look how beautiful it's going to look, you guys. Absolutely stunning. So that is from Liz Matthews' July Patreon, available till August 15th, 2024. And it will be available for public release sometime in 2025. Okay, my last project I want to share, of course, is Hygge Holiday kicked off this week. This is the exclusive SAL that I am doing with Kathy of Hands On Design. This chart was made exclusively for the SAL. It is available only through the end of August for purchase. It's a PDF only from Kathy's website. So run over there, link down below. Even if you can't stitch along with us right now, if you want to pick this up so that you have it, it's the sampler, the Hygge Holiday Sampler, 4 different colorways and 5 ornaments, and you can stitch those in any of the colorways. Kathy stitched in the blues. I am using the forest color, so greens and neutrals. And here is where I'm at. This week we are stitching this quadrant right here. So I did a live stitch with me. I will link that down below again. I think I mentioned it earlier, but we started stitching and here's where I'm at. And I got a little ways to go to get my first quadrant done, but I don't think it'll be bad. And again, I stitch in hand. I'll be back stitching as I go. Since I don't have to worry about a hoop, that is what I choose to do because there is some back stitching here in Kathy's chart. I am stitching this on 32 count smoky vintage or vintage smoky white. It is a screen print like Vintage Country Mocha, so it's antique white on the back and then it has that modeling on the front. The called for fabric is antique white 32 count linen or 16 count antique white Aida. So it's a very Aida friendly stitch, and there is a finishing piece from Chantel of 141 Design. It is the Hygge Holiday frame. You can see here, I'm not going to bring the frame out right now. Kathy painted hers, so you can definitely paint it. I am going to do a staining, and Chantel will probably do something different. Don't know what she's doing yet, but mine is going to be stained. And again, mine's going to be the greens and the neutrals, like the browns. So pretty. Absolutely loving it. I'm loving seeing all of you guys stitching. So make sure and use the hashtag that you see here on the screen. Tag me, tag Kathy of Hands On Design, tag Chantal. We would all love to see your beautiful stitching. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about today is the Halloween Memories Quilt-Along with Fat Quarter Shop. This is the new book from Susan Aki, as I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to flip the camera around. I'm going to show you guys what I'm using for my quilt. So, this is the book. It is awesome. Let's see. It is 64 pages, cross-stitch, or quilting and cross-stitch, just like the Summer Memories book. Let me zoom out just a tad. And the quilt that is going to be stitched or sewn during the quilt-along is the Moonlight quilt. So on Fat Quarter Shop, you can get your fabric requirements, and you can see it's called Halloween Memories. When I show you my fabric, you'll understand that even though it's Halloween Memories, even though I love sewing Halloween quilts, my colorway is going to go a little bit more of the fall direction. So pick your favorite fabrics. Many of the quilts in here can be stitched in anything that you like. It's not necessarily Halloween. They do have a coloring sheet where you can kind of color and see what works for you, which is always awesome. And then I did blow up, or I didn't blow up, I borrowed this from Fat Quarter Shop, the requirements for this, so that if you're interested, you can either screenshot this or jot it down while you're watching. Go over to Fat Quarter Shop. I'll have links to all of that down below. And you can pick up your favorite fabric or shop your stash and sew along with Fat Quarter Shop and me. So this quilt-along is scheduled to begin August 20th. Definitely subscribe to the Fat Quarter Shop blog. That's where they put all of their information. Watch Fat Quarter Shop, follow them on Instagram and social media in case that changes. But right now, as I know, scheduled to start August 20th. There is a quilt-along and a stitch-along going on. Of course, you can see I'm doing the quilt-along here, and I will be sharing my progress on social media and here on my Flosstube. And look to see a lot more quilting as soon as my big commitments here are done. at the end of this month, because I have a lot of plans for a lot more quilting content. Just sharing more of that here. I've been itching to sew. I've sewn a little bit, and I really want to get back to sharing way more of my quilting process. Again, thank you to Fat Quarters Shop for that. So let me show you my fabric pull. Okay, so I said it's not going to be Halloweenish. It'll be a little more fall. I am absolutely in love with the Denim and Daisies line from Fig Tree. So this is Joanna Figueroa's newest collection for Moda, and it's all denims, blues, oranges, and browns, or kind of rust color. So definitely fall vibes. This is totally me, and I thought that this quilt would be beautiful in these colors. So this is what I am going to be using. I will share on Instagram, like I'm going to pull my, do a little fabric pull. It's kind of one of those things I'll probably share more as I get a little more into it. So that is what I'm doing there. The backgrounds for the blocks, so all of this white space is this print from Denim and Daisies. Then I believe this is one of my borders. Here's my borders. Yes, these are my, like the borders I picked. So definitely more blues instead of oranges, and then my binding fabric. And then I haven't decided on my backing yet, but absolutely love this. I can't wait to start, you guys. Like literally you want to start right now. And I'm really excited because I already have several Halloween quilts either made or in process, like a lot. And it doesn't mean I don't want more, because there's more that I want to make in this book. But I'm excited to have more of a fall quilt that can be left out past Halloween until I get my Christmas decorations going. Plus, this just kind of jams and jives with my bedroom as well. Like my bedroom is in blues. The piece from Liz Matthews that I'm stitching to cross-stitch that pillow. So I really felt like even this quilt might be beautiful on the end of my bed during the fall season. So love it. I love that it will pull in some oranges as well, and the rust color. Love, love, love this. Definitely, please check out the book. Now, let's see. In case you haven't seen the book, here's what we're going to do. We are going to, I'm going to show you the quilts. We'll talk about all of the ones that I really love in here. And I'm just going to cover up the page with the instructions. This is the Enchanted quilt. This also would be beautiful in the same collection I'm using here. So that's Enchanted. And as always, when you get a book from Fat Quarters Shop, you know the instructions are amazing. Okay, I love this one. I love square quilts. This is Hocus Pocus. How awesome is that? That is a 59 3/8 square quilt. Love that. Hocus Pocus. Pretty sure Moonlight is next. Moonlight is next, which is what we're doing for the Quilt Along with Fat Quarters Shop. It has little antidotes throughout from Susan as well. This one is really cool. This is called Nightshade. And this is a 59.5-inch square quilt. I love that it's gray and white. Now this could be anything. Orange and white. You could do black and white. You could do blue and white. Whatever. Red and white if you want to make it, you know, maybe Christmassy. I know this is a Halloween book, but just remember most of these quilts, if not all, can be anything. Love this as well. This is called Spider Webs. This is another square quilt. It's 68.5-inch square. And this is called Trick or Treat. All those little diamonds. I don't know about that. Those kind of freak me out, not gonna lie. Although the piecing back here looks pretty simple. Okay, and then let's do a little peek here at the cross stitch. And I love that they are definitely kind of a bright. I know there's an Orafloss, and I'll link to it, that you can get to stitch these on. Really, really fun. Oh, here's another great picture of these. How cute are the witch boots, or the broom one? The broom would be very cute. If you did the flying lesson SAL with me last year, I think that would be a cute little addition. The dancing skeletons. Really, really fun. And I love the addition of all the purple and greens in here. Okay, so that is the Halloween Memories book. Okay, my friends, I think that is it for me this week. Remember, I did the giveaway kind of in a different order this week. I mentioned it earlier. It is the Halloween Memories book from Fat Quarter Shop, so leave the word Halloween. I will be posting this on Instagram as well. It won't be the giveaway on Instagram. The giveaway is here on YouTube, but I'll post to come over here in order to leave a comment. I think that is all I've got for you this week. So I hope everyone has a wonderful stitchy week. Please make sure and tag me. Use the hashtag for the Hygge Holiday SAL 2024. Tag Kathy of Hands On Design. We want to see your beautiful stitching for the SAL. I will see you guys all live on Friday the 26th at 7 p.m. Central Time. And I think that is it, you guys. Happy stitching, happy quilting, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, click that like button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new Flosstube stitching or quilting video. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time. Hello, Flosstube. No. Hello, stitchers and quilters. It is Nichol. Welcome back to my channel and another no. Hi everyone, it's Nichol. Welcome back to my channel. This is where I talk about all things jump around. Jump up and get down. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, seriously. I love that my fan did that. Hold on. Okay, so with that being said, this isn't going to be I was going to say it's not going to be super long. It might be.